what are some challenges of moving from QuickBooks? And you see on the point there, the first one that generally and somewhat obviously comes up is cost in terms of, going from QuickBooks or any other entry-level ERP system. Generally the cost of setup, configuration, training is generally, low, let's put it that way. And when I guess a lot of organizations don't often understand that when you move to that mid-level ERP system, we'll be talking further about Business Central, and this absolutely applies to that. There's definitely a big step up in terms of cost. Sometimes, interestingly enough, not necessarily on running the software, but often in implementing, and that's where we're going from what is a box that can be commonly applied very cheaply or modestly in terms of price. When you move into a mid-level system, that's where we're often addressing those issues of what the challenges in the box and addressing them there. And that does take a certain amount of setup, configuration, sometimes customization, sometimes integration. So, Darren, did you have anything further on that?
I was almost going to say the same thing. Realize these are configured systems. So as opposed to just, hey, you set up all your chart accounts and, okay, I've got accounts payable and accounts receivable. That's great. Everybody's got that. But how do you want to do that? So we spend a good amount of time consulting with you and understanding that and fitting the product to you and finding the right tools, if you need additional tools to perform that. So realizing that there's a lot more options and flexibility. So what you're buying is a lot more automation. You spend a little bit of time now. That the investment is you spend a little bit more time and money now for a great amount of automation and work that the system will perform for you, and what it'll give back to you if you can wave your magic wand and name your wishes an ideal scene there. Some of these other challenges, costs, I would argue that licensing really is pretty competitive. I don't think the license, I think it's more just that initial one-time implementation. User adoption, it might be new for some of the users. A lot of times we're coming across users who have been with other companies before and they've used other, sometimes even larger ERP systems, so it just depends. Change management is part of that. If people have been doing it the way the ancients did it in the same way over and over and they don't know, there's a lot of funny anecdotes I'm not sure we have time for today, but they've been doing this the same way for thousands of years. How well will they receive a change in the way they're doing something and new interfaces? And I think once they get into it, they'll be able to appreciate, but that's sometimes a challenge for companies. Hey, we don't want to, rock the boat here too much and have an uprising and revolt, mutiny from our employees because we changed the software on them. So it's really including key players and stakeholders in the decision-making process and evaluating the software and getting them behind it is really helpful